Okay. Anyone has any questions? I'm receiving quite a few questions for, okay, any updates on the potential use of monoclonal antibodies? Okay, right, Giuseppe, this is a good chance to update. So I submitted the formal applications to have the monoclonals in our hospital on September 23rd. So the administrative times of the hospital are a bit slow. I I will actually ask for an update tomorrow, and I hope we will have a feedback in a week. As I mentioned, so this is a good timing now. So to give a few explanations about monoclonals. So these monoclonals are only approved to prevent new COVID infections in patients with some sort of immune compromise. So they are not approved for long COVID. But the European regulation gives some sort of freedom and yes to subjective interpretation of the law to doctors, meaning that in my personal opinion, we have enough evidence to consider long COVID and or post-COVID ME/CFS patients as being having some sort of immune dysregulation. So I will formally provide the monoclonal with the purpose of preventing new COVID infections, but the real purpose is to try to cure long COVID, as some patients report strong benefits from the COVID monoclonals. So I hope this is clear. Actually, the role of these antibodies in preventing new COVID infections is not high, like 30% of current variants are covered by the COVID monoclonals. So you may still have, during the next 6 months, some reinfections, but our real untold goal is to use them to treat long COVID. So I will write a post on my Substack so I can inform everyone simultaneously if they are available in my hospital. You will need to stay probably also only 1 day, and it's just like an injection or a brief infusion. So they are much faster than the intravenous immunoglobulins, and I expect them to also be much, much cheaper than the intravenous immunoglobulins. So can anyone, like Giuseppe, tell me if you heard my answer? Okay. Okay, Natasha and Gabriele said that you've heard the answer. Do you guys have any? Okay, this seems promising. Yes. So in the literature or on social media, some patients have reported great response, like it has happened also with other medications, like rapamycin and IVIG. But in this case, I think the COVID monoclonals will be the easiest attempt in terms of side effects, tolerability, and costs. Can you confirm, as my earphones collapse, can you confirm me you are hearing me? So again, I repeat, the monoclonals in this case will be, in my opinion, the easiest attempt compared to IVIG and low-dose rapamycin because, okay, you can still hear me, great. Yes, because for sure they are expected to be much better tolerated than rapamycin or intravenous immunoglobulins. So I think it's a great try. Most probably, the hospital will buy, I guess, I've asked them to buy at least 20 doses. Let's see if they want to buy them or not. And I will also let you know, therefore, how many availabilities we will have. Of course, if things go well, I will ask the hospital to buy more. Okay, so this is another good point, the difference with IVIG and the monoclonals. So the monoclonals are antibodies produced by companies that only attack the spike protein of COVID. This means that you have some sort of COVID reservoir in your body, or the persisting spike protein that is causing chronic inflammation in your body. The COVID monoclonals only block them. So they only act against the hypothesis of viral persistence. Conversely, the IVIG is a pool of millions of general antibodies taken by the general population, by donors. And they kind of bind to a larger number of autoantibodies, but also they bind to some immune cells. So they kind of reset the immune system and reduce inflammatory responses in general. So they target not a viral reservoir, they only target chronic inflammation that may be triggered by something like by the COVID, but also other stuff. So that's an important difference, and that's a good question. So no, Andrea, as the COVID monoclonals are highly specific for COVID, they are not make no sense to be tried with post ABV CFS. So my expectations is that I will have them from the hospital. And again, not every patient will improve, but I expect that 60% of patients will improve with these medications. I have still some doubts if using them with recent, like in newer long COVID cases, or with those long COVID cases that are ill since many years.
Yeah. Any
other questions? So any other questions? Have you heard them? Okay, Kat, this is another interesting question. So we only need one treatment, one infusion. So that's also very easy because we only need one. So you don't need to repeat multiple times like intravenous immunoglobulins. So is it clear that this is only done once and it lasts 6 months in theory, the protection against new infection, and maybe life-lasting, the improvement against long COVID? No, Rebecca, I haven't said that monoclonals cannot be used for those cases having long COVID lasting since many years. Because in theory, yes, it's possible. This is just my hypothesis. I may think that longer lasting long COVID cases may have a number of ongoing events in their body, meaning that the COVID persistence has triggered chronic inflammatory responses, and when they are too much chronic, they are not reverted only by COVID monoclonals. But I'm definitely not sure about that. So most probably I will start from most severe patients if I have more requests than treatments. So it's very important, yes, to clarify that. That was my only idea, but it's not. I'm not. I can't say I'm right or wrong. So Giuseppe, long question. The public awareness seems to be improving, and there will be a European Parliament for the Horizon. Yes, I know about that. I've also received this preliminary information that the Horizon is interested in chronic post-viral syndromes. The only problem is that the Horizon application is hugely hard, not only in terms of chances to win, but also in terms of time being time consuming. Literally, it's very hard for full-time clinicians like me to commit time to write an Horizon procedure. It's like a different job writing an Horizon procedure. Of course, I will try, but most of us, like me, we have now found the time to do research or to write grants applications. So, I am a bit scared about trying for these reasons an Horizon application, but eventually I know that I will try. Also, if private life and family stuff go well, I will do that, but it's very difficult because, again, we are only paid, most of us, for clinical duties, not for research. No, there are no clinical trials for monoclonals for long COVID in children. I am 99% sure there are no trials yet. And because pediatric other studies have not been completely successful. And so it's difficult to do the pediatric trials in those cases. No significant side effects, only, allergic reactions like everything, but we will do the infusion in my hospital.
Owner is asked to pick up the animal box immediately.
Okay, I think I have 10 more minutes if you guys have any other questions. When the hospital is getting the monoclonals, so Gabriele, we said this at the beginning, so I've sent the formal request to buy the monoclonals. And I think I hope to know an answer in 1 or at worst 2 weeks. And I will inform everyone through the blog and social media, but mostly through my blog, when they are ready, how many doses I will have, and when I can start. I hope I can start in November at this point. No problem. I'm in an airport and the flight is late, so I have no hurry. It's important that I most probably will do the monoclonals in those patients that have clearly developed long COVID after a COVID infection. Particularly if I will have much less doses than the number of patients that ask me to do them. Okay, maybe I see no other questions. So this was a good chance to clarify the monoclonals and the IVIG, I think, which is great. So one important thing is that, IVIG and monoclonals or other medications are not like mutually exclusive. So this doesn't mean that patients who get the COVID monoclonals will not be able also to access other medications. So what is the ideal time after monoclonal? So if you have already long COVID, actually nobody knows. So I don't know, and nobody knows. Ideally is if you have long COVID, the sooner the better to try, of course. There is no guarantees that you or a patient will improve with the COVID monoclonals. But in general, I think that, like with radiation, the longer the waiting what is, but there are chances to improve even after years. So, and we are not talking here about days or weeks, but years. Mice are recovered and they're relapsed after another infection. Yes, this is completely common. This is why I say that those patients who have developed long COVID or myalgic encephalomyelitis remain potentially susceptible to develop them again after new viral infections. And this is why when these patients get a new viral infection for which we have an antiviral, I suggest to treat the acute infection independently from the severity of the acute infection. Yes, IVIG is also for kids with ME/CFS 10 years old. As always, I treat patients who are moderate to severe. Are there any cat? Are there any subtypes that you think it's more suitable for? No. I will treat any certain long COVID disease that has started after a COVID infection. Rebecca, what is your opinion for the role of rehabilitation services in addition to symptoms management? So, in general, I think rehabilitation services are good in addition, but rehabilitation does not have to mean gradual increasing incremental of physical activities. Means going very, 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 very slow, moving the body, starting like at 5% of a pre-illness target, stay stable for weeks. If that level of exercise does not trigger post-exertional malaise, then the month following, for example, can be increased for 5%. So very, very slow rehabilitation. Marie, do you have experience with antiviral Maraviroc? No, zero. I've never used that in my practice. I confess I'm not the fan of antivirals for those who have developed already long COVID or ME/CFS. In some cases, unresponsive to everything else I've tried, but my personal experience is not very satisfying so far. I think the point from Elizabeth is very important. It's a relatively common scenario. Okay, so I don't see other questions. Maybe we started. Okay, in future acute infection of a child that's recovered, what do you typically treat with? So if it's a COVID and the patient is an adult, I will try with metformin, which has anti-COVID antiviral activities well demonstrated. Otherwise, I will go with Paxlovid. So if this is COVID, if this is, I don't know, flu, I will use the antivirals for flu, or herpes, the antivirals for herpes. We don't have many antivirals. So, no, Elizabeth, I've not tried metformin for teenagers yet. So in teenagers, I suggest Paxlovid and viral Voyager. So it's not about what I suggest for a specific treatment. So I always suggest the same approach for if there is the diagnosis of myalgic encephalomyelitis with or without MCAS. So if moderate severe, I consider first IVIG. So IVIG, and then if severe MCAS also, there is a post on my blog on MCAS, also the certain monoclonals for some allergic diseases can be considered. Okay. So we have had our classic 30 minutes call. I think I don't see any other questions. So one more from Elizabeth. How common have you seen it for children to not have any pneumonia vaccine titers? So I'm not routinely testing vaccine titers in patients who had long COVID. So I don't have a personal experience about that. As I said, there is some sort of immunological dysfunction after COVID. And this is also why I will use that as an excuse to use the COVID monoclonals, because as I said, we do need an excuse to use COVID monoclonals, which is any sort of immune problems. So I have zero clues for these questions, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. I have doctors in the US. No, not for children. I'm not aware. I know that in San Francisco and in Mount Sinai, respectively, Dr. Peluso and Dr. Putrino use them, but I'm not aware of their use in children or adolescents. But I think I will ask them, particularly with David Putrino. I have very good relationships, so I will ask him, or if I have access to the COVID monoclonals, also to share a bit our experiences. Okay, so I think it's 30 minutes now, and I'm gonna close it, and I will keep you posted. As always, I have to take the flight shortly, so thank you for joining last minute, and I think we are gonna do that again in the near future. Talk soon. Bye bye.
You know what? Now